I call this my offensive stance. I am going to blade myself a little bit more, and this is going to let me move and cut angles. This is always a good one. 2 in, 1 back. So if you're looking to take your first MMA fight, or you're looking to go from one martial arts into mixed martial arts, this video is for you. The most important things you can master and I continually work on is a good fighting stance. Not only having a good fighting stance, but being able to move and stay in that fighting stance is important. Here is just a general fighting stance. It's very similar to your typical boxing stance. I want my shoulder mostly facing my opponent. I don't want to be squared up like this because it's difficult to move and you're an easy target. So shoulder is facing my target. I have my hands up. Now I don't want my feet in a straight line like so because I have no balance. Especially with MMA, you're going to eat leg kicks all day long. I cheat this foot out so I'm a little bit more stable with my hips. Now I can check, I can move, and I'm still bladed through the upper body. When I want to be a little bit more offensive, I call this my offensive stance. I am going to blade myself a little bit more, and this is going to let me move and cut angles. Like I said, you're a little bit more susceptible to those low kicks. If you find yourself needing more of a defensive stance, I go into my Muay Thai stance. I like to square up a little bit more, and I'm ready for all these punches, and I'm going to stand my ground. So once you feel comfortable in your fighting stance, now it's important to practice movements. And here are just a couple of basic movements you can work on. I like to work up and down the line. I can go single step forward. When I do that single step forward, it's front foot move, rear foot move, and I'm right back in my stance. Moving on the way back, it's rear foot, front foot, rear foot, front foot. So I practice all the way down the line, step forward. Maybe you can throw a jab, move your way back, move back, counter. The next progression would be a double step. 2 motions forward, 2 motions back. And once you feel comfortable working on those individually, now I like to put them all together. So just in a general area, shadow boxing, you can go single step, double, single step, back step, 2 steps back. This is always a good one. 2 in, 1 back. 2 back, 1 forward. And this is a great way to master your fighting stance and get some good movement practice. Now we're going to go over how to create angles and how to use angles in a fight. When I'm practicing my angles, I always like to have a focal point, something that represents my opponent. You could use the heavy bag, or you can even just use a cone or a marker so I know my opponent's right there, so that if I start creating angles, I know where my opponent is instead of looking off into the side. The 2 basic angles you can create is left and right. Very simple. If I angle out to my right, I'm going right foot, left foot, and making sure I'm still facing my target. If I'm going to the left side, I go left, right, and I make sure I pivot so I'm back in line with my target. I can go 1, 2, shift step. That's just straight to the side. I'm going to create that same angle, but this time with the bob and weave. 1, 2, step, bob and weave. Now I've created that same angle. 1, 2, bob and weave. Going to my left side, I can go 1, 2, 3, left foot, bob and weave, angle. Left hand, angle. Without using your bob and weave, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, pivot. Especially if you have a very aggressive opponent and he's coming directly at you, I like to just do this pivot and he whizzes right by. Once you get comfortable with that, now you can start adding a couple more strikes. I can hit 1, 2, bob and weave with the body shot, and then counter. I can go 1, 2, angle, run the kick. Going to my left, jab, cross, hook, step with the body, pivot out. 1, 2, 3, step. If you like this drill, like, subscribe, and check out my website where I have a full kicking program where I go over this and plenty more topics to help you get ready for your first MMA fight.